Krishna. Krishna is the one who ultimately gives sanction, whether to deliver us or not. But he gives the power of attorney to his devotees. In other words, if a devotee recommends, this person is very nice, you please let him come back to Godhead. All right, Krishna will allow. So devotees, they carry the mercy of Krishna. This example is given in the Guru Ashtaka. Samsara dava nalaniga loka pranaya karanya khana dhanabha praptasya kalyana praptasya kalyana gunarnavasya tandeguru shicharanam. Krishna is Kalyana Gunarnava. He is the ocean of auspicious transcendental qualities. So it is said that the spiritual master is receiving benediction from the ocean of mercy. Krishna is the ocean of mercy. So just as a cloud takes water from the ocean and distributes it, so in the same way the devotees, they carry the mercy of Krishna and distribute it. So a devotee, they carry Krishna's mercy. Devotee, he introduces us to our best friend. Krishna is Suhridam Sarvabhutanam. He is the best friend of all living beings. So a devotee introduces us to Krishna. Devotee never says, I am your best friend. But he introduces us, here is Krishna, who is your best friend. Our eternal relationship is with Krishna. So in this way, a devotee is very merciful because out of his causeless mercy, he gives us Krishna. Now, giving the example of the cloud again, the cloud pours water profusely everywhere. Here in this country, we don't see so much. You can appreciate the difference. Where there's plenty of rain, many of you are from Kerala, especially Tamil Nadu, where some parts of Tamil Nadu and most of Kerala, there is profuse rain, so everything is shockingly green. You come to Kerala, you see everything is so green, lush, because so much rain. So in the same way, pure devotees, they pour rain everywhere. Some people, some places, they may not even be willing to take them. Just like the rain also falls on the rock. Even then some small plants will come up, even on the rock. But if there is a good, fertile soil, especially if it's plowed and seeds are put in order, then very nice crops will come. Or if not, at least you'll get verdant, lush forest. So in the same way, the devotees of Krishna, they spread the mercy of Krishna very widely. What is the nature of mercy? Mercy is something that is coming down. You can't demand mercy. And you can't give it to someone. It's not that you go to your spiritual master and offer him your blessing. Always the disciple is in subservient position. This is not very popular in the modern age, where everyone wants to be equal. Or in the name of equal, they want to be above everyone else. But Vaishnava culture is to go down. Those who go down more, they're begging for they get more mercy because water flows down. So if you go down, you get a better position. In the valley, you can collect the water. If you want to stand up on the mountain, you may get some. But in the valley, you'll get all the water that's coming. Even in the Bible, you find Lord Jesus, his most essential instructions. He says, blessed are the humble and meek. So this is the essence of Vaishnava philosophy. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu taught, Trinada Pisuni Tarara Pisanishna, Amanina Amanidana, Kirtaniya Sadahana. One should be very humble, considering oneself lower than the straw in the street, more tolerant than a tree, not wanting praise for himself, always ready to praise others, and always chanting the holy names. So with this attitude, if one is actually very humble, then the mercy of Krishna coming down through the devotees will flow on him. But if he stands up, no, Hamare hak. I will be the boss. Who are you? Then it's like putting on a big shield all around you. But no. And the mercy won't flow. It'll just go past you. You'll miss it all. But how to catch the mercy? You have to be ready to collect it when it comes. How does the mercy come? Mercy comes in the opportunity to associate with devotees, to serve Krishna, to chant His holy names. When the opportunity comes, you should take it. Considering that, you don't get that mercy even in millions of lifetimes. Now if you have the chance, by the grace of Krishna's devotees, to chant His names, to engage in His service, to associate with devotees, you should take it. But if we become proud, then we become cut off from that mercy. If we think that, oh, I'm so great, I'm so wonderful, who are all these devotees? They're just a bunch of ordinary people, I'm better than all of them. I don't know. I'll chant Hare Krishna at home. What's on the TV? Your intelligence will be polluted. Someone who is proud, who has great faith in his own intelligence, rather than having the attitude of hearing from devotees and associating with devotees, then he becomes cut off from the mercy of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. He becomes cut off from the mercy of Krishna. That's why Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur said that Shalalata, simplicity, Saralata, in Sanskrit, Shalalata. This is the first qualification of it. Very simple, not very complicated. Why this? Why that? Why should you do this? Why should you offer arati? Why so many objections?
Why chant 16 rounds?
Why chant 16 rounds? Why don't you chant? Why this same old mantra? Why don't we make up some new mantra? What is all this singing? It's not very civil. We should be study more books, chant Om. Why this? Why that? Always doubting Thomas. What is it? Samshayatma vinashyati, in Gita Krishna says. One who is always doubting, they're spoiled. One who simply accepts, yes, Krishna is the Supreme Lord. Let me serve Him. Let me chant His holy names. Let me serve the devotees. He makes advancement. Let you conceive. Those who give themselves to Krishna, and Krishna gives Himself to them. They become blissful. How are devotees becoming blissful? You're thinking, well, they're always singing, but it's not just singing anything. There are people, there are rock stars singing songs. They're always singing too, but they're the miserable people. They're like ghosts or something. They're always taking intoxication. They don't become blissful. How is it that devotees, they become very happy and pure? Because they're getting the mercy of Krishna. By chanting the names of Krishna and serving Krishna, Krishna reciprocates. You see devotees' faces become shining and happy because Krishna's mercy is manifesting in them. But someone who becomes, again, proud, or he doesn't want to associate with devotees, then they lose the luster, they become miserable. So you can see who has got Krishna's mercy. Krishna's mercy, that is manifested, how? As Krishna consciousness. And what is Krishna consciousness? The desire to serve Krishna. Who is very eager to serve Krishna, to chant His holy names, to serve the devotees. That means that they're getting the mercy of Krishna. Krishna is manifesting Himself to them. They're making advancement. Krishna is reciprocating with them. Who desires to serve Krishna, Krishna is very pleased with them. And Krishna gives more realizations in their heart that this is how we should serve. Krishna will give more and more enthusiasm to devotees, enthusiasm in devotional service. That is a sign that someone is getting Krishna's mercy. Now, enthusiasm doesn't necessarily mean that all of a sudden you become very enthusiastic and then all of a sudden you become unenthusiastic. But that enthusiasm should be sustained over weeks and months and years. That is the sign of steady engagement in Krishna consciousness. That means someone who's determined to get the mercy of Krishna. Determined means, again, you can't force it. You can't say that, now I'm going to show, I'm going to be a great devotee. The whole thing rests on one's attitude. That constantly we have to cultivate the mode of wanting to serve Krishna, of being humble in his service, being careful not to make offenses, studying. It's a commitment. We have to sustain this, because always by Maya, Durga, difficult to get past. She's always giving us some other gift. That's why she's Durga. Not so easy to get out of. So she'll offer some idea in your mind, so many things. But if we remain fixed in the consciousness, I have to serve Krishna, I have to serve his devotees, go on chanting, constantly endeavoring. Satatam kirtiyantuvam yatantascha dhiravrata namaschantascha mam bhakta nityayukta upasita. Devotees, they're endeavoring to always chant the holy names of Krishna, to serve him with great determination, to bow down to him, to always engage in his service. So this steadily going on, constantly praying to Krishna, his devotees, constantly trying to serve the devotees, always being careful not to make offense. If there is accidentally some misunderstanding or offense, to rectify that. This way, the devotee attracts the mercy of Krishna. Krishna becomes pleased with such a devotee. Or again, more correctly, Yasya Prasadad, Bhagavat Prasada, Yasya Prasada. That Krishna, he is, like I said, he's given power of attorney to his devotees. So, if one's spiritual master is pleased, and by his mercy, by the mercy of the spiritual master, which means the mercy is coming from Krishna, but then you become eligible to get, by pleasing the spiritual master and getting his mercy, then you become eligible to get the full mercy of Krishna. And yasya aprasada nagati katopi. But if you dissatisfy the spiritual master, then you can't achieve success. Nagati kato api. Api means even though. You may do so many other things. You may chant so many rounds of japa and perform austerities, but somehow or other, if there's some flaw in our devotional service, if we're not pleasing our spiritual master, then we have no position, we don't make any advancement, we have no position in devotional service. I'll just tell one small story to demonstrate this point. Prabhupada was coming to Paris. In Paris, one of his disciples, Hari Vilas, was the temple president. So, Hari Vilas had been there, and he'd done a lot of service, helped to develop the temple, and brought so many new people to be devotees. Then he came from the airport with Prabhupada in the car. So he described this himself, he was feeling, here I am, I'm riding in the car with Prabhupada, I'm the town president here, there's so many other devotees, and Prabhupada didn't look at him or even speak at him all through the journey. They got to a hall, and Prabhupada saw all the new devotees, looked at them, very nice, asked each one of them, what is your name, what is your service, what are you doing? And he still didn't even look or say a word to Hari Vilas. And then Hari Vilas was thinking, wait a minute, what's going on there? I thought Prabhupada was going to be talking to me and asking me the names of all the devotees. And everyone's going to look at me and say, you see, Prabhupada's looking at Hari Vilas, he's such a big devotee, and Prabhupada's not even looking at me, as if I don't even exist. Then he understood. And Prabhupada knew I'd become proud. So he's teaching a lesson. That you can't purchase mercy. Even if you do very big service, still you have to remain humble and meek. Because ultimately Krishna doesn't need our service. He doesn't need anything from us. He only gives us the opportunity to serve us so that we can become purified. But purified means that we're always considering ourselves very meek and small. Whatever we do, we think, I can only do this by the mercy of Krishna. And if we think like that, Krishna will give us mercy. And if we think, just see all the things I did, then the mercy gets cut off. So it all depends on our attitude. We have to do our best to serve Krishna. At the same time, whatever happen, whatever advancement we may make or whatever we may do, actually the devotee never thinks I'm making advancement. But he simply thinks that Krishna is still allowing me to chant Hare Krishna. He's allowing me to do some service. That is His mercy. So if we maintain that attitude, then we'll always get the mercy of Krishna. But then if we think, oh, Krishna's giving me so much mercy, I'm so advanced, then again you become cut. So you see, it's all a matter of Natchita, being conscious of Krishna. In the conditioned state, we're always conscious of myself. I'm so wonderful, I'm so great. So sometimes we carry that into devotional service also. Instead of thinking I'm the best snooker player or konkani singer, sort of the konkani singing club or whatever it may be, I'm the best at Bharatanatyam, and we think, well, I'm the best Madanga player, I'm the best preacher, I'm the most humble, I give the best lectures. I mean, it's obvious, isn't it? I am the best. And as soon as you start thinking that, then a big hammer comes. Durga! You become humiliated. You can't do anything. That's Krishna's mercy. That's also Krishna's mercy, in another form. If you become humiliated or cut down, it's also Krishna's mercy. That's why that story, Prabhupada with Hari Vilas. Was it that Prabhupada wasn't merciful to him? Yes, he was. In that situation, Prabhupada's mercy was manifested by ignoring him. If Prabhupada in that condition had indulged him if he had spoken to Hari Vilas, yes, you're so wonderful, you're so great, he wouldn't have helped him. He would have become more puffed up. So in that situation, he simply ignored him until he realized, oh, wait a minute, I made a mistake. And then again, when he approached Prabhupada very humbly, then immediately Prabhupada opened up and changed. So mercy is there. Somehow or other, if we come in contact with the devotees, we'll get their mercy. We should stay in the association of devotees. We'll get their mercy. It may not be very pleasant. Sometimes there's some cutting of false ego. But really, the association of devotees is our shelter. So by trying to serve the devotees and please the devotees, trying to get the mercy of the devotees, thinking that the mercy of the devotees is the way to get the mercy of Krishna. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Devotee, that's stated by Lord Kapila Dev, that, what is that? Salokya, Samipya, Sashti, Sarup, Yaikatvamevacha, Diyamanam Nagridnanti, Vinamat Sevanam Janam. He says that these 4 kinds of Vaishnava liberation, which means to live on the same planet as the Lord, to have the same opulence as the Lord, to have the association of the Lord, or to have the same form of the Lord. He says that my devotees, they're not interested in this unless they have the opportunity to vinamat sevanam jana, unless they have the opportunity to serve him. So a devotee will accept this kind of liberation for the sake of serving Krishna, but he's not interested in it for his own benefit. What is what? Atmarama means one who is satisfied in himself. Krishna is the number one Atmarama. Atma means self, Rama means taking pleasure. So pure devotee is also Atmarama. Sthita Pragya means one of fixed intelligence. So they're similar terms. One who is Sthita Pragya, that means he's fixed in the self. That's not necessarily even a devotee. We find in the Gita the descriptions of Sthita Pragya. It's not necessarily a devotee. Maybe a Brahmavadi also. Maybe an elevated transcendentalist who's not a devotee. Atmarama can also be. That Atmarama verse is there in the Bhagavata. The question came that why is it that Shukadev Goswami, he was already Atmarama, he was satisfied in himself, then why did he take the trouble of studying such a great, big book as the Bhagavata? So the answer came, Atmaramas Chamaneo Nigranta Apyavikrame Kavantya Haitakim Bhaktim Itam Bhuta Guno Hare. That even those who are satisfied in themselves, they take pleasure in glorifying Krishna. In other words, glorification of Krishna is on the transcendental platform. Even if one is free from material contamination and is fixed in the self, there is a transcendental attraction towards Krishna. can say Sthita Pragya and Atmaram. Sthita Pragya, that is the first stage, that his intelligence becomes fixed. And then that question is there by Arjuna, and Krishna explains elaborately what is the nature of Sthita Pragya. Basically saying that one whose senses are controlled. So one whose senses are controlled, then he becomes fixed in the self, takes pleasure in the self. So they're similar terms.
But we say Sri Krishna or Sri Radha.
Generally, yes, but we say Srila Prabhupada, Srimad Bhagavatam. So there are different usages, but they have the same connotation. Particularly Srila, Prabhupada described, that means one who has seen the Leela of the Lord. Otherwise they're all terms which suggest that one is endowed with the opulence of the Lord. You won't find this term outside Gauriya Vaishnavism. I've not seen it elsewhere. So you may not be very familiar, but there's so many things. You weren't familiar with Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Now you're familiar. So you can become familiar with this. Anything else? Any other points, questions? Maybe we could just distribute these two books. And what were those other books too then? Is on the theme of the mercy of Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu and Nityananda. Just before coming here at Naimisharanya temple, I was speaking about mercy. This song was sung by Lochan Das Thakur, who is a great devotee. He wrote Chaitanya Mangal, biography of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, many songs. This is a very famous song, which says that the most merciful of all incarnations is Chaitanya Mahaprabhu and Nityananda. These two lords, Nityananda Prabhu and Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. They are the essence of all incarnations because they are given this wonderful path of Krishna consciousness which is simply joyful. They're the essence of all incarnations mean that all the avatars, they come for giving mercy, to show their mercy. Paritranaya sadhunam, vinashaya chadashkutam, dharma samsthapanataya, sambhavami yuge yuge. The Supreme Lord comes whenever there is a decline in religion and the upswing of irreligion. The Supreme Lord comes in every age. And what else does he do? Paritranaya sadhunam, vinashaya chadashkutam, dharma samsthapanataya, sambhavami yuge yuge. Particularly, Prabhupada explained that Krishna says, I come to uplift the devotees and smash the non-devotees, and to establish religion. But particularly he comes to infuse the devotees and to uplift the devotees. Because destroying the demons, he doesn't have to personally come to do that. That he can do one earthquake, can get rid of many demons. Or some war, or some problem, anything like this. So the Supreme Lord comes particularly to show himself to the devotees, to give encouragement and enthusiasm. But this incarnation is most merciful because he not only uplifts the devotees to the highest level of Krishna consciousness, but he also, how does he destroy the demons? By making them into devotees. And how does he do it? By a simply joyful process of chanting, dancing, and feasting. What could be nicer than this? What do you think? Do you agree? It's a very nice process. Otherwise, there are so many things being recommended for spiritual advancement. You stand on your head, wiggle your toes in the air, and say Om. But Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's process is much better because it brings us directly to the highest level of spiritual life. What is the highest level of spiritual life? Not karma, not jnana, not yoga, not tapasya, but to be reinstated in a position of service to Krishna. So chanting Hare Krishna directly does that, because chanting Hare Krishna means to pray to Krishna, that, Oh Krishna, Oh my Lord, please engage me in your service. Ayi nanda tanaja kinkaram patidama vishale bhavamuto virada bhavamuto sthiti dhuri satashanamiti. This is our mood when we're chanting Hare Krishna. But my dear Krishna, you are my very life and soul, but I've forgotten you. I'm such a wretched rascal. I've come to this material world forgetting you. Now you please pick me up and place me as an atom of dust at your lotus feet. So Chaitanya Mahaprabhu was given this process which directly brings us. You don't have to go through many different lifetimes. Everyone in Kali Yuga has fallen. So if we're to become purified first and then take to Krishna consciousness, there's no chance because the whole atmosphere is impure. But by chanting Hare Krishna, we automatically become purified and reinstated in our position of service to Krishna. Therefore, Lochandas recommends Bhaja Bhaja Bhai Chaitanya Nidai Surya Vishasaka. Therefore, he recommends just worship Chaitanya Mahaprabhu and Nityananda with very firm faith. Don't think that it's just some kind of dogma or some kind of fashion or fancy. This is the essence of all spiritual life. This is the very meaning of life. Without Krishna consciousness, what is that? Krishna Chaitanya. If we say Krishna consciousness in Sanskrit, we can say Krishna Chaitanya. But without Krishna consciousness, you are achaitanya. It's like being unconscious. If you think I'm this body, how to improve my business and all these things, then it's like being living dead. Like being a zombie. You're living but you're not living because without knowing Krishna, it's like being dead. It's a waste of our life. Hari Hari Vifale Manusha Janamna Paya Radha Krishna Nabhaji Janiya Shuniya Vikasa. This is another song, this one by Narottam Das. He says that my dear Lord Hari, I've uselessly passed my life. I got this rare human birth, but I didn't worship Radha and Krishna. Therefore, knowingly, it's just like I drank poison. I'm roughly engaged in Krishna consciousness. So we shouldn't hesitate, have any doubts. Just worship Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. How to worship him? Krishna Varnam Tusha Krishnam Sangokam Gasta Parashadam Yadhyaya Sankirtana Praya Yajanti Hi Sudev Saha. In Kali Yuga, everyone has less intelligence. Kaya Alpaisa Sabya Kalavasmin Yuve Jana Mandasa Vandamatayo Nandabhari Yupajuta. In Kali Yuga, everyone is short-lived, unlucky, less intelligent. So many disqualifications are there. But if anyone at all has any good brain substance in this Kali Yuga, that will be exhibited by their worshipping Sri Krishna Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, who appears with his associates, by the Sankirtan. Sankirtan Pravartak Sri Krishna Chaitanya, Sankirtan Jagya Jai Bhaji Chaitanya. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu himself came to establish the Sankirtan movement. And whoever worships him through the process of Sankirtan, which he inaugurated, they are very fortunate. So Lochandas says, take it up very seriously. But there is some condition. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu told everyone to chant. It doesn't matter. You may be papi, tapi, dino, hino, doesn't matter. Dino, hino, jato, chilo. Hariname, udharilo. Tar shaki, jadai, madhai. You may be papi, tapi, din, hin, whatever. But if you take to chanting Hare Krishna, you can become purified. The example is Jadai and Madhai. They were so sinful that when Lord Chaitanya accepted, he said, alright, I'll take all your sinful reactions. Then for some time he became black. Gauranga became black with all their sinful reactions. Just to show how sinful they were. But then Chaitanya Mahaprabhu said that you can be delivered by this chanting, but there's one thing. You have to promise no more sinful life. Not this, like in Bengal I say. What is that? Mukhe Hari Bol or Ilja Jog, something like this. Jubati ko.
খাইয়া মাছের ঝোল মুখে করা হরি বল।
Something like yes. With your mouth you chant Hare Krishna, and when you're not chanting, put in some fish soup. It's very popular in Bengal. Magur Mach Hajo. That's what it is. Magur Mach, not Hilsa. So this is rascaldom. Therefore, this idea, you chant Hare Krishna, otherwise you have to stop. Therefore, Lord Chandra says, Vishaya Charya, Shiva Shemajya, Mukhe Yoga Hari Hari. Give up sinful activities, give up sense gratification. Then you can become absorbed in nectar. Then you can really chant Hare Krishna. We are chanting, but real chanting begins when we've given up all desires for sense gratification. So there are stages. Now we are hopefully in the clearing stage. There is Navaparad, Navabhas, Shuddhana. Krishna's name is always Shuddha, pure. But we are not. So if we chant with an offensive attitude, that is called Nam Aparad. But if we are trying to become purified, but we're still not purified fully, that is called Navabhas, or clearing stage. We're supposed to be becoming gradually purified. And when we become fully purified, that means fully free from desires for sense gratification, then we can fully relish the Nama Ras, the nectar of chanting Hare Krishna. Lochandas continues. Dekho ore bhai, chibhuvane nai, emana doyalana. He says, just see, just consider that within all the three worlds, there is no one more merciful than Chaitanya Mahaprabhu and Nityananda. There are many welfare workers who are opening hospitals, schools, many charitable institutions. But the best charity is to give someone Krishna consciousness. Because as long as you remain in this material world, you have to suffer. Even if you build a big hospital, it doesn't mean you'll get free from suffering. That means it's a symbol of suffering. Then you have to build hospitals. But by chanting Hare Krishna, we go to the spiritual world, we never return to this miserable material world. See? There's always some disturbance. So Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is the most merciful because he distributes Krishna prema, Krishna bhakti very easily. Chant Hare Krishna. He doesn't say anything difficult. Chant Hare Krishna. And some things we may find it difficult. Actually, it's not very difficult. No meat eating, no gambling, no illicit sex, no intoxication. But it's actually a very minimum requirement. Otherwise, there are no difficult austerities. Chant Hare Krishna and be happy. Pashu Paki Chure, Ashana Vidure Shuni Jara Guna Bhava. Simply by hearing the qualities of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu and Nityananda, even the animals and birds may cry, and the stone may melt. Actually, that's a fact. When Chaitanya Mahaprabhu was passing through the Jharkhand jungle, there were so many animals, and Chaitanya Mahaprabhu told them, chant Hare Krishna, and they did. Even the elephants and the deer, the tigers, they were chanting Hare Krishna. Even the tigers and deer were chanting Hare Krishna and embracing each other, dancing. That's possible for Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. And the stone will melt. In Puri, in the temple, there's Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's footprint, because the stone was melting from Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's ecstasy. So we may not be able to get the birds and beasts to chant Hare Krishna, but at least we can try to ask others to chant Hare Krishna. That will spread the glories of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu more if we try to bring others to Krishna consciousness. Lochandra says, Shamshare Majya, Lohile Poriya, Shepade Nahila Vash. What is my own condition? Actually, he's a great devotee. The great devotees always think themselves very fallen. So he says, here I am, I'm stuck in this material world. I'm taking pleasure in this useless material world. I'm stuck here. I have no attraction for the lotus feet of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu and Nityananda. So he says, Apana Karama Bhujaya Shamana Kailan Nojandas. I think by my past sinful activities that are not getting any taste for the lotus feet of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. That's why obviously he has very deep feeling, otherwise how could he make such beautiful songs unless he has very deep feeling? This is great Vaishnava, always thinks himself the most fallen. This is a very beautiful prayer by Lochandas. Maybe you can learn, there are so many beautiful prayers. You learn some of these songs. These are the expressions of feeling by the great Vaishnava Acharya. So if we learn them, we can also begin to enter into the feeling that the great devotees have for Radha Krishna, Gauranga. Hare Krishna. I'll finish there. There's so many things to say. But I can simply request, let us meditate on the mercy of the most merciful, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu and Nityananda, and try to spread that mercy by asking others also to chant